Hi, everybody. This is Craig Hardesty with Out on Film, and I want to welcome all of you to our Out on Film series and In Conversations with. I'm very happy today to have the director and cast members of our world premiere screening at Out on Film, Ella. I want to welcome director Antony Hickling and our stars of the film. In the title role of Ella, we have Chéru, and playing Ella's love interest, Maya, we have Morgane, Abou, Farhat. I want to welcome all of you to Out on Film, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So, Antony, last we spoke,
yes.
We were also having a world premiere of Down in Paris a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
So happy to report this is starting to become a thing.
Yes, good.
So as we kind of gear up for the festival this year, our celebration of queer joy, this film is quite joyous. And so, Antony, I want you to talk a little bit about how you came to tell the story of Ella.
To be honest, I had been working at a drama school, quite a famous drama school here in Paris called Cours Florent. And I had one class, which these lovely girls were part of, for 1 year. And I proposed at the end of the year, because obviously I can't help myself from making films, I proposed at the end of the year we make a movie. Now, I wanted us to create the movie together, but my inspiration initially was the class, was the students, were the people. And that was my starting point. So my inspiration for the filming, for the creation of the film, was these guys, or girls, I should say, and everything in between, of course. But I wanted to somehow reflect them. That was my objective. It was like somehow to reflect their age, who they are, what they're about. I mean, there's a mix of genres in my class, sexualities, and that whole melting pot, and the fact of being 20. I mean, you're 20, 19, nearly 20. You're 20, 23. And I think the writer Benedict was 40, but everyone else is in their 20s. So it was like me going back all those years as well to all that hope and aspiration and energy, fun and sexuality and all that. And somehow I wanted to reflect that in a contemporary way through them, through their stories, through their way of seeing the world. And that was sort of the starting point for the film.
Okay. So much, this film is all about these little choices that we make every day. Just as small as what direction to go in during the day. And the story follows Ella in 3 different directions, on a day. And I'm curious, well, keeping with this theme of the small choices that we make, for both of you, Marie and Morgane, tell us a little bit about how you, one, came to the roles that you're playing, and in this kind of a script and scenarios, what are the choices that you made, as you approached each one of these days that you go through?
Oh, interesting. How do I say this? Do you think you can rephrase the question so I really get it what you're asking?
Sure. Just kind of like how you approach the role playing Ella and the choices that you make as an actor in each one of these left, right, and straight scenarios that you go through.
Well, I mean, we had a script, but it was all based on improvisation. So we had some sort of like a bullet points that I needed to follow for each scene. So it was a bit unpredictable, but I had like a guideline. So it was a bit like Ella, actually. Like I had choices to make throughout the whole each scene. But I think I just followed what was given to me, like from the other actress in front of me. But yeah, there was this unpredictability that I needed to work with. But yeah, it was really similar to what actually happens in the movie, so it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. I mean, about you?
I mean, for me, it was actually pretty similar. I mean, obviously my role was not as big as Marie's role, but it was actually, I think we all found a way to like relate to our characters, so I think that was pretty helpful. And yeah, no, I think what really helped me, at least, like not stress out and everything, was also the fact that everyone is just so close. So it was, honestly, it was pretty easy to get into character in a sense.
Yeah, we could really in each other.
Yeah.
And then Antony, it's 50 minutes, and it's a tight 50 minutes. So you also have to make a lot of choices here. How did you approach this in terms of directing it and the final product that we see?
Well, to be honest, in with regards to directing it, I mean, I've sort of been doing it for about 10 years now, so I've made quite a few sort of films, basically. And the point is, I was saying to the girls earlier, I think now I'm starting to get into a rhythm of how to go about it and also how to deal with it. So it's the least amount of stress possible for me and everybody involved, because I've been through, I mean, you can imagine. But as a result, the last 3 films, in fact, the documentary I made and then Down in Paris, were big projects, especially Down in Paris, but they went so simply because I've realized the team keep it small, keep the choices simple, you know what I mean? So getting through it was sort of quite easy because I feel like I sort of have an idea of, okay, there's going to be unpredictabilities. It's not going to go how you expected. I'm sort of more prepared than I was, but that's also age and experience and all that. The second part, what was the second part of your question?
There's like the director, right? Just a tight 50 minutes.
Oh yeah, that was the second question about the length. Well, the thing is with the length, it's obviously particular in the sense that it's 50 minutes. So initially, the reaction of the majority of people have been like, oh my God, it's 50 minutes. How on earth are we going to program that? No festival is ever going to take it, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, I said to a friend of mine, a director in Sweden the other day, he said, the 50 minutes, are you creating a new genre? Well, how on earth is that going to work? Will take it, will they? And I was like, well, actually, they are. And I said, to be totally honest, the film was meant to be a short film. It was meant to be 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I didn't know how long it was going to be. But the thing is, because I didn't have anyone on my back telling me what I should or shouldn't do, the film is as it's meant to be. The fact is, I didn't plan to make a 50-minute film. I didn't plan to make any length. I didn't even know if we were going to make a film, in total fairness.
Right.
It might have just been a few little bits of, but the film, through editing, it was initially an hour and a half. And then through editing, I was like, no, I only wanted to do a short film. It can't be an hour and a half. And then I was like, no, we need to cut back. We need to cut back. We need to cut back. And we cut back to the point where we said with the editor, we can't cut anymore. So, and it happened to be 50 minutes, well, 50 minutes and 30 seconds, whatever it is. So I feel, and this is what David said to me the other day, he said, oh, for once, a director's vision. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care about festivals. I don't care about who wants to see, who doesn't. I just care about the work, and the work will decide its own length as long as you follow the path and listen to the signs. And I almost feel like it was meant to be 50 minutes. Like, it wasn't planned, but we cut it until it was right. I did want to cut more, but we tried it, and it was like, no, we're losing. We've got to the point whereas if we cut more, we will start to lose. Right. But if we have more, it was like, there's too much air in it. There's too much. No, it needs to be cut, and we got to that point. So it was unexpected, but that's what it is. And as a result, it's been, it's going to Paris and Serbia, and lots of festivals are taking it despite the length. So in actual fact, I thought, as long as you stay true to yourself and true to the, it's art, so it's creative, it's spiritual, it's about listening and being aligned, So yeah.
It's interesting that you say that, because when I screened it, my notes were, this is a lovely film. it's a happy lesbian story, thank God. And it's 50 minutes. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Sure,
and,
I get
and
that.
so we just put it. We just found a slot, and we did that. But I think that's why. I think you're right, because I think it tells the story, and it tells the complete story, and it leaves us. I will say, as a viewer, very, very satisfied. Just even after after 50 minutes, it's like yes, this is. You can come away like this is a lovely story. And so with that, like Marie, I'm kind of interested. Ella's a lovely character and a fascinating character, and I love going through the day with these days with her. What was your favorite part about playing Ella? What's the part of Ella that's going to stay with you?
I thought about it, and I think what really touched me was her vulnerability. She's in a really like a lonely point in her life. She just lost her father. She's struggling to become an actress. She doesn't have her mother's support, but through all that, what I think is really strong about her is her queer identity. This is something she's really unapologetic about, and that's something that I really admire. Because again, like among all of this mess that I was saying it was happening in her life, all the struggles that she's going through, and I think I think that's something that really shines through her. So yeah, that's something that would really stick with me. It's like, don't ever lose sight of who you really are. Like, be true to yourself, and life will follow you. I think that's something that we need to remember, and that's something that she does, and really touched me.
And Morgan, what is the for Maya? What is the she comes into Ella's life in these days in various incarnations and various scenarios. What is the best part of playing Maya, and what is going to stay with you?
I think Maya and I are really like similar in the sense where I think we're both very messy. We don't really know what we want, and I think what's gonna stick with me is just the fact that Maya is such an unsure character. Like she doesn't know if obviously she likes Ella, but she's also in a relationship with a man, and I think that that's really gonna stick with me because I think that it's one of the big things that most teenagers struggle with, just being unsure of what they want, whether it's relationships or a future career or everything. So I think I think that's really gonna stick with me, and also the fact that obviously you can really see that her and Ella are pretty attracted to one another, and yeah, I think it shows how unsure teenagers are, but then as well, like their actions do have consequences. So yeah, I think that's really something that's gonna stick deep in my heart.
And Antony, as you've gone through it and you've made this, what is the part of Ella's story that stays with you?
To be honest, to get to that just quickly, since Down in Paris and for a while, I've wanted to make a film with a strong female lead.
Yeah.
My idea was a lesbian lead, or I wanted a woman female lead, a lesbian female lead to be more specific, or a queer female lead, or whatever it may be. And I didn't know that was going to happen. But this film, we talked about it in class and this, that, and the other. I wanted to improvise around the themes and all that. And I was clear that I wanted an LGBTQ lead. That was one thing that I was clear about. And then we did castings and such like, but within the class. And then Ella, or Marie, got the role of Ella, as is also happens to be a queer or lesbian or queer woman.
Yeah.
Lesbian, well, I'm not sure how you
say. I don't put any labels, but I'm queer as well.
Yeah.
And the thing therefore, I found unexpectedly, I found my female strong queer lady, woman, or whatever, however you identify yourself. And I think that's what will stick with me. But it's also something that I wanted, and I'm just proud that it's done. In the sense, her strength, the fact that there's no apologies, and this is something that has happened in Down in Paris, and it's like queer characters that where the sexuality is no longer the issue, the sexuality is no longer the problem, it just a part of who someone is, and now we can get on with thinking about all the other stuff we need to think about.
Yeah.
And that was important for me in Down in Paris. And I feel really weirdly, and this has spooked me out, that watching Ella is quite similar to Down in Paris.
Yes, it is.
It was so unexpected, and it was written by somebody else. So it's like a bit weird. It's like the female Down in Paris. But I suppose what would stick with me is her strength. But that was what I was looking for. I wanted to portray a positive, strong role model female character, and I feel that's what I've got, and that will stick with me. And I suppose ultimately what will stick with me is having worked with those young people, young adults for a year, and then to have made a movie together. It's a movie, but it's also a very touching piece of evidence, or how would you say that? Well, a memory. It's become a memory of that year, you know. So it has it's a layered piece of work for me, you know. Yeah, but I think her strength.
It is, and it's something that I very much appreciate. I appreciate the fact that we start. Ella's out. Everybody's out. Everybody's living a queer life. We don't. There's always a place for a nice coming of age, coming out film, but it's also nice where we are just living in the world, trying to find our place in the world, as I would say, celebrating our queerness or living it. I do want to say, because part of that, I want to talk. I'll make it about me for a minute. My two favorite scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
One is when Ella, first time in the turning right, walks past the queer woman sitting on the bench and answers the phone from her mother, and walks past her, and they don't have that interaction. But in this straight through line, stops and has that moment. And there's just that moment of connection between queer people that you just know. And it's such a beautiful moment. And Marie, I just like you to talk to us about that moment that you're playing that scene on screen.
Oh, me. Sorry. It was really touching in a sense where it's a member of the queer community, but it's not the same. Like, it's not talking to a lesbian person like Ella. It's a really different point of view from someone who's within the same community as Ella is. So it was really touching in the sense that two really different stories are meeting at that point, and it was so rich. Even like when doing the scene, I mean, with Alan, like the actor who's playing Celia, it was very like I could feel the connection at that moment, and it was really touching, because against the differences and the connection within those differences that made it really rich as a scene. So
yeah, I mean, and it's a beautiful scene. And Antony, kind of, how did you kind of set that scene in motion? Because it's such a lovely moment between the two of them.
I'm glad that touched you, that moment, because we went through a point when we went to the point of getting feedback from a few people, when it's sort of made and you go, right, okay, where do we need to go from here?
Right.
One person in particular that is quite close technically in regards to my other films says he wasn't sure about that particular scene and maybe we should cut it. And we thought about cutting it because I was thinking it maybe doesn't work or it's not clear. Well, I didn't think that, but I started to think it after. And I was like, oh my God. So I was speaking to the editor and we nearly cut it. We tried to remove it. And I said, you know what? I don't want to remove it. I mean, the whole point of it is, anyway, to get to your question, we kept it. And I'm so glad we did. And I'm so glad that it touched you. How did we get there? In class, before we got to the script writing, I got them to improvise around subjects, around topics, around, a lot of improvisation, taking notes, writing. And Alan, no, did he change his name, Alan?
No, it's still Alan, but
still
he wants
Alan.
to go with
it's Alan, but she.
Right.
She was like, she'd written a piece about a trans girl that leaves home, and it was quite a classical piece that she wanted to make in a film. So I took a piece out of that and asked her to improvise around it. And I said, right, you're in a park, you meet someone, and this improvisation came out whereby the subject was never named, but the connection between the two characters happened without having to say, I'm going through this, I'm going through this.
Yeah.
And there was an exchange, and that I captured that moment because I was like, that is it. That's what I want to put in the film. And we don't want you to say, I'm a trans woman.
Right.
This is complicated. I'm getting bullied. I'm doing this. My mother's throwing me out of the house. I don't want to go through that. You're just a person. Yeah, we can project onto you, and people will project onto you what they will.
Right.
However, all I'm interested in is a human connection between two individuals that are sharing a moment and that care for each other in that moment, that help each other on their journey just in that second. It's about kindness to a stranger, you know? And I think that's very down in Paris. I would have maybe liked to explore it more, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just enough. You know, you walk past that person, you ignore them, you say hello to someone, you don't know, it changes their day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm really pleased, like really happy that touches you, and I'm so happy that we kept it in, because there's always in making a film, there's always those go moments with scenes.
It is
important,
and especially as she passes, as Ella passes in the first instance, and then just that connection.
Yes.
You know, they're like, I need to see if you're okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and it is. You both played it. It's a lovely moment.
Oh, good.
I think too, my second favorite scene is really the two of you on the balcony at the end. That's such a lovely way that you're exploring each other, kind of figuring out that you really are kind of into each other in this moment, and kind of having missed the connections and the, you know, throughout, that we finally get the satisfying moment where you do connect. So talk to us, both of you, about playing this scene and kind of how that scene was for you.
Okay, so which scene are we talking exactly?
The end scene.
The end scene.
At the end.
Well, it was it was an intense scene. We shot it 2 times, and it was with the actress playing Lucia, Kendra. She's a really like close friend of mine. So I would say that the connection and the chemistry was already there. So it was really intense for the both of us, but it was such in a beautiful way. and it just so, I don't know, it was so natural, and it was beautiful just because for the first time, I mean, I think throughout the whole movie, even if we see Ella as being a bit alone in her life because of what she's going through, I think the end is different in the sense where the two characters are relating to the same, the subject of the movie, which is the tiny choices can completely change your life. So it was a touching scene, and it was really natural. Like, I remember that we did say that it was the only scene that we didn't really cut.
We didn't cut it. I would have even added a little bit, but what I liked about it is the awkwardness of it. The sort of up and down moments of it, which we could have cut, but I'm like, oh my God, no. It's real. It makes it real. That's how it is, you know?
Yeah.
And to be totally honest with you, I don't think the kiss was even in the script.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. I just kept rolling, and they ended up kissing, but it wasn't so they kissed. It was just that I just kept rolling because the moment they were still in that moment, and they went to the kiss, you know, and I just love it because it feels sort of real to me.
Yeah.
That moment, you know, that connection, that awkwardness, that don't I, oh shit, oh fuck. You know what I mean? I like that sort of up and down, exactly. In and out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's such a lovely way, you know, to end. You know, I very much appreciate, you know, as I've kind of screened a lot of queer films and done these festivals for a very long time, to experience just that moment of a pure joy between people, which is kind of really what you experience.
Oh, good.
Yeah. kind of curious.
You've frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I kind of lost a little bit of audio for a second. Sorry. I am really curious about. You know, a big Mary Oliver fan. And we weave Mary Oliver in. So as we kind of come to an end, I just want each of you to talk about kind of what's next and what you plan to do with your wild and precious lives.
Good one.
Oh, I mean, both Morgan and I are still in Cours Florent for the third year at
Drama school.
Drama school, yeah, stage and screen in English. So
Yeah.
we're still going through that last year, and then I don't know. I mean, I think I've already realized this before, but with the movies, it just confirmed itself. It's by doing this movie, I just realized that this is what I want to do. Is like to be able to have that privilege to just be able to tell someone's story so precious, and that's something that I want to keep on doing, and that's why I love acting so much. It's yeah, being able to tell someone's story is so beautiful, and Ella's story was very touching to me. So I think that's why we're doing this. I mean, it would be the same for you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it was really like a make it or break it moment because I had never done anything. Like I had never been in like drama school or done a movie in my life. And yeah, no, I totally agree with Marie. Like it really showed me that that's actually what I love doing. That's actually what I'm passionate about. It's not just a fantasy or whatever. And yeah, right now we're still going through the last year, and honestly I hope we're gonna get to work again together.
Of course.
But yeah.
Excellent. And Anthony, what's next up for you?
Oh, do you know what? I mean, I'm still teaching and acting and directing. I mean, I'm always writing new movies. I have written a new movie, a thriller, which I wanted to do. It's funny because I wanted to do it before Down in Paris. Then I wanted to do it before the documentary. So eventually it will get made, this thriller. I mean, I'm always writing, and to be totally honest, I can't stop myself. I'm like, oh, this will be the last one. No, this definitely will be the last one. And I somehow find a way to get through. So I'm looking for a way of making my next film, ultimately.
Excellent. Well, all of you, I want to thank you for joining us, for sharing your stories with all of us here at Out on Film.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
beyond
having us,
thrilled.
everyone. And thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And we are beyond thrilled to be having the world premiere of Ella. You can catch it at Out on Film. Go to outonfilm.org for tickets and showtimes. And all of you, thank you very much for joining us. And
Thank you
for
so
everybody
much.
out there joining us, please live your lives full of queer joy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.